I want to switch gears, Nan, because there's a lot of reporting now. Mark Halperin brought this up on our morning meeting where he's talking about Biden coming to a realization that it's over, potentially by the end of this weekend, that he will drop out of the nomination, not endorse Kamala, support quasi and open primary. First and foremost, I've always argued that the problem that they have to get over, the Rubicon that they have to cross, is the logistics. Who is the replacement candidate? And then how are they going to run? It's people who've never been involved in a campaign say to me all the time, England does it, France does it. And I'm like, that's because that's how they do it. Right. That's their system. Right. They know that system. We don't. The Democrats to say, oh, hey, let's run a convention in 4 days. I've done 2 of these at the highest levels. Everything is precisely planned out minute by minute. We just saw that in Milwaukee. The idea that you go, hey, we haven't done this since 1968. Let's just wing it and see what happens is not how it works. Then from a campaign finance standpoint and putting a staff together, do you think whoever it is, these campaigns, how you guys both ran for Congress, you don't just build a campaign overnight. Hey, I'd want to run. I need a campaign manager, a finance director, a research director. These take months, if not years, to build out. Nan, the logistics hurdle is what I can't get over.
Well, you're exceedingly expert and spot on, Sean. I think what they're hoping for, and there's a lot. Look, we all know that just given the way they view policy, that the members of the Democrat governing elites seem to live in a world of fantasy. Because no policy, especially on the economy, fiscally, the so-called green agenda, none of it is ever going to work. So obviously they're accustomed to living in the world of, make-believe, but they've been able to survive it because, to the point that you've all been making, we have had this cultural shift in our country so that every institution has been captured by that leftist mentality that government knows best, and we, the elites who have been the anointed in our education and in our institutions, now in the corporate boardrooms, everything's been captured. So they imagine that this is going to work. And the only way, Sean, I think that they feel it could work is that they will mobilize so much money, like a Jeffrey Katzenberg, who, as you know better than I, has been rumored to have had a serious conversation with President Biden
he's the Hollywood mogul, just so people, he's the big Hollywood guy, right?
Right. So. Big Hollywood money, the Soros world, one presumes that they will come together and they will make this happen. But you're absolutely right that it all takes time. It's highly disruptive. And not only that, but Vice President Harris, whom they chose, I can imagine how her base, especially among women and women of color in particular, are going to interpret this failure to endorse by Joe Biden, this primary now, this flash primary that they're going to hold under extraordinary circumstances, how they imagine logistically that those folks are going to not sit at home for an entirely different ticket. Again, all of it defies logic, but that is the essence of the Democrat Party. It's all about illogic.
So can I read from what you're saying that you think it's going to happen, that he does drop out?
I've been saying it for a long time, Sean. I think he has an illness that is affecting the function of his brain. That is not a diagnosis. It is a surmise, but, I'm a pretty experienced clinician and I'm not alone in this. So I just don't think I think what we're witnessing is, so often with these conditions, there's a gradual decline and then there's, they kind of they're really headed down.
Is that a yes or a no, though? I mean, but is he out? I mean, I think
I don't think he can. I don't think he'll be able to stay in through November. I think he may be out completely. So I would put my money more on his being out than staying in.
Doug, Chris LaCivita said that the Democrats' attempt to push Biden out is, quote, an attempted coup.
This is nothing more than an attempted coup by the Democrat Party. They are actively engaged in an attempt, in my view, and a lot of people share this view, in deposing the President of the United States. Because look, you can't step down as a candidate for president because you're cognitively impaired while still being president.
I got to be honest with you. I've been saying this for weeks. We better be careful what we wish for.
Yeah. Oh.
And this, to me, I mean, I'm sorry. Too many Republicans got on the bandwagon of getting Biden out. Do you think we're going to get what some of these folks wished for?
Yeah, I think you. I was on with you a couple weeks ago, and I said no. I think he's in, and I'm still at the point of 55% he's out now. It's growing a little bit. I understand Halperin's reporting. I get that, but he's got to dig in. The structural issues. In fact, I was sitting here writing stuff down as Dan was talking about this. Number one, history often doesn't repeat, but it definitely rhymes. 68. Think about what was going on in 68. We're back at Chicago 68. We're now at Chicago 2024. You got a Democratic Party in disarray. You got a culture that is the crime and perception is terrible. And you have a very unified Republican Party. First time I've actually looked at it in a different way, but that is it. I'm also going cold water on this from a primary perspective. You got a problem. They in their arrogance, they messed up their convention and put it too late to get on the Ohio ballot. Okay, they cannot wait to Chicago to have a vote of delegates at the convention. This has to take place because of the problem with the Ohio ballot. They have to have this done by August 7th. So this will all take place outside the convention floor. This will take place on a virtual meeting where they all vote. And this is only Democrats can come up with this kind of a solution because they waited so long to get somebody on the Ohio ballot. This is the reason.
Doug, if I can interrupt for a second, I thought the state of Ohio had fixed it, so to speak, so that they actually don't really have to do that.
No, but they wouldn't be having a continual conversations of putting Joe Biden in a virtual nomination position before August if that had truly happened.
So but just to answer this, they pushed it to the 31st, but it's with caveats. So DeWine signed the bill, and the Dems don't want to take what goes with it. That's the problem. So
exactly.
If they want to wait, they can, but then they've got to agree that no corporate foreign money. And gosh, you don't want to do that. So yes and no. But let's.
Also, the polling issue. Can I throw the cold water on polling issue here too? Look, for all of us sitting here, even the national polls only have this at a 3 to 4 point margin. I mean, with everything that's happened after the debate, the assassination attempt, now we're going to see a bump out of the Republican convention. We'll see that. But remember, we've got about Biden's hard floor at this second is still 45. Let's think about this for a second.
Yeah.
I mean, they have got a big problem. Harris and they're going to have to go to somebody that's the complete polar opposite. Why, if you're a Democrat who actually has a moderate portfolio, are you going to jump on a ticket with 3 months left? You're a Josh Shapiro, a Roy Cooper, Bashir out of Kentucky. Why are you going to waste what could possibly be your shot later on at a chance in 28 to do this?
Because it's that's politics,
why I say 55, not 75.
But I mean, Doug, look, you've jumped in a race before. You know this. The reality is you go with what you go. I mean, I get it. I would rather wait, but politics is you go when you can.